Hello, welcome. This is Roland. Today I want to talk about getting started. I often talk about making a fresh start, starting over. A lot of us need to do that. Okay. Why? Because right now you are the sum total of of your whole life. You're the sum total of it. But you're a sum total of what? Of things that people did to you when you were a little child, of traumas, of mistakes, of upsets, of bad things happening, of disappointments, of angers, a lot of angers, a lot of resentments. Okay, and so there's a lot of baggage, mainly having to do with other people, with their acts of commission or omission. And we often start by resenting our parents. And then it spreads to a lot of other people. And we resent bullies, or we resent our older brother who was mean, or our sister who was also mean, perhaps. And then it keeps spreading. Then we resent other kids that have more than us, or we think are smarter than us, or teacher seems to like them better, or we resent our brother or sister because mom or dad seems to like them better. You see what I mean? It just spreads and spreads. So just resentment after resentment and anger after anger. Now, a lot of it has to do with the fact that you were just a little child and you were born into a time and place and a family, and you couldn't help that, okay? But what you needed when you were a little child is for your parents to be like a prince and princess. You needed your father to be like a prince, like in Snow White or Sleeping Beauty, a noble, gracious, kind, wise, courageous, long-suffering, patient. See? You needed him to be there for you. That's what you needed. All the other stuff, it wouldn't have been so bad. What kids did at school, you didn't get asked to the prom, somebody was prettier than you, all that stuff. It wouldn't have become a big deal, but Father wasn't there for you. Okay. Now today it's getting worse because more and more fathers, they leave. Okay, some fathers are killed in the war or, on the street. But mostly fathers leave. There's a divorce. Or if there wasn't a marriage, then he leaves. Okay, that's a lot of times what happens. Or if father is there, then a lot of times he's there, but there's something missing. See, you need him to be stronger than the world. So no matter what happens, remember there was a song, it was something like, when there's no getting over the rainbow and smallest of dreams won't come true, I can take all the madness the world has to give, but I won't last a day without you. Well, it's a love song, okay? But imagine that actually would be a good song to sing about one's father. Okay? Now, some kids a few are blessed to have a really noble father who was there for them. Not only was he there for them, he was super noble. And you could see the father's spirit in him very clearly. See, father, in the eyes of the child, represents God. And the father is supposed to learn to be unselfish. See, we get married, and most people have the wrong idea about marriage. I think it's going to be bliss and happiness and perpetual party time. I don't know what they think it's going to be, but it's not that way, okay? So what is marriage then? Well, it's not to get our needs met. Marriage is a framework ordained by God within which to learn to be unselfish. and to work out the ancient man-woman thing. You know, the Adam and Eve thing, which you see replayed over and over again. I wrote a couple of books about that. You should get them. So you learn to be unselfish. And the man, he has to learn to become more fatherly. So when you're young, the two of you have fun, okay? And you develop a career and skills, and you start a family and you have kids, okay? But as the years go by, then the man is supposed to learn to become more fatherly, less like a big kid, and also the man has to learn what is required of a man. See, most men think that he can rely upon her and look to her for support and for reassurance, and he craves that from her, okay? But what he doesn't realize is, number one, that's not what she needs. She needs him to be strong and independent, so she can lean up against him, so he can become someday, see, well, like the father she never had. See, a noble man, gracious, kind, and wise, long-suffering and patient, one whom she can just relax and let her hair down and just be herself, and a man who doesn't use her, okay? Well, that's what she needs, okay? And so he has to learn to become that, okay? So through all of his suffering, see, there's a purpose to suffering in marriage. There's a purpose to it, because that way he can learn what he doesn't see, what he doesn't have. And if a man cries out for answers, you know, if he says, you know, wordlessly, but if he were saying words, he would say, Lord, I don't know what she wants. I don't know what I'm not doing right. You know, I go to work, I come home, I bring her flowers, I do the gardening, cut the grass. I don't know what she wants. He cries out, see, to his Creator for answers. And if his cry is sincere, then the Creator answers with his light. See, so you can begin to see your mistakes. Oh, I see. She doesn't need me to be a big kid. She needs me to be strong. And when I am strong and independent, then she won't like that either. Or she'll think that it's just a ruse. She won't believe it, so she'll try me even harder. She'll give me even harder a time to see if it's real or not, and so that'll call out even more patience from me, and more long-suffering, and more wisdom to deal with, see? And the lady's job is not as difficult as the man's. See, the Father's Spirit is supposed to come through him. Someday he's supposed to find a bond with his Creator. For her, mainly it's learning to be less judgmental, okay? And to let go of her resentment toward her husband and toward all men, beginning with her father who failed her. See, that's what began it. So she has to learn to let go of the resentment, okay? To see that her man is just a man, and to give him a little space, see, and not give him a hard time all the time. Although if she gives him a hard time, see, it'll either make him or break him, see. It'll either kill him or cure him. If she gives him a hard time, then he whimpers like a dog and begs for her forgiveness. Well, then he blew it. If he runs away, well, what's the old expression? My mother used to say, good riddance to bad rubbish, okay? But if he hangs in there and cries out to his Creator to find out what he's missing, and he develops that strength of character, then she'll have a real man, see, which she will respect and perhaps come to love, you see, and the kids also. Well, okay, so for her, she has to give him a little space and learn not to be so judgmental. Okay, see that he's just a man. She has to learn to be not so judgmental. And she may have to learn not to meddle in everybody's lives. See, the thing is, the weak man, he's weak. So things have to be done. Decisions have to be made. Kids have to have some kind of schooling and this and that. And he's weak and well, he's not there. So she has to decide. She has to take the burden upon herself, and she resents him for it. Nevertheless, she does, okay? But by becoming the center of the family, see, the man, see, at the head is God, then Christ, then the man, then the woman, then the kids, see? But if he has defaulted his proper position, then she's in charge. She's the center of the family around which everything circulates. But you see, the problem is that in her resentment of him, then another authority comes to be her guide. See, deep down out of the depths of her darkness, in her darkness, another authority that down there encourages her to hate men, hate all men for having failed her, see, and to get even, and to get revenge, see. So that's the dark side. And she's a little closer to that, so she knows about that dark side, which her husband doesn't. But he calls upon that dark side when he craves reinforcement, craves support for his animal self and for his ego. When he craves and cries out for that, he's actually crying out to the hell in her, and it draws it up. So she becomes more witchy, see? Now some women, they don't mind that. They want to be witchy. They want to destroy men, see? And so on. But most women don't want to be that way. They don't want to be witchy. They wish he were a man, see? So to subdue, see, he's like the knight in shining to subdue the hell in her. It gives her a hard time too, that hell, that darkness, see, with dark moods and all kinds of stuff. He should be the knight in shining armor to valiantly joust with the enemy, which is the enemy of all humans. It's from the dark side. And it wants to destroy all human beings. And it most easily does so through the unloved woman and the selfish man. Okay? So now you see what we're up against, okay? So I began by saying that people want to get better. They want to start over. So so what is needed? Well, the first thing that is needed is you have to be willing to, you want to know the truth. See? You want to know the truth. Now the truth is like a two-edged sword. So when you listen, like when you listen to like what I just said, the description of every family that's ever existed around the earth. You can go to Iraq or Shanghai in China, or you can go to Manila or Houston, Texas, or Toronto, Canada, or London, England. It's the same everywhere, see? So I've got some books on the subject, especially The Myths and Mysteries of Marriage, very popular. So you need to be willing to see the truth and have your eyes opened, okay? But you know when your eyes are open, so I said the truth is a two-edged sword. On the one hand, it's a little painful, see? It's hard to bear sometimes. But on the other hand, you want to hear it because you know it's true. And you know it's good for you. It's like going to the dentist to have a bad tooth pulled, okay? You don't want to go to the dentist. You don't want to have the tooth pulled. You know it's going to hurt. But you do want to have the tooth pulled because then you'll be better when it's over. See what I mean? It's like that. So you're willing to hear the truth, okay? And then it begins by wanting to know the truth and then to let the light into your life. See, the light that is in me, the same light is in you. But see, you've always run from it. See, what happened was that after a series of resentments when you were a kid and angers and becoming frustrated and hating people, hating bullies and hating people that were mean, resenting your dad for not being there, or your mom for yelling at you, or whatever you resent. See, those types of things. See, then you became guilty before that inner light. See, which feels like conscience. So you didn't want to feel bad, and you didn't want to admit you're wrong, so you ran from the light. So you ran out into the world and busied yourself with trivia and all kinds of stuff. Kept busy, busy, busy. And there was plenty of distraction out in the world, plenty of excitement, plenty of trouble, plenty of pleasure, plenty of all kinds of stuff to keep you plenty busy, to keep running from the light. But then eventually the day comes when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you want to come clean, okay? And then you sit still. Then instead of running, you learn to sit still. That's where the meditation comes in. My little meditation teaches you how to go in a room, close the door, become still, see, and observe thoughts. See, it's an exercise in self-observation. Instead of being lost in thoughts, you observe thought, see? You have a little distance. Then you go out in the world with that little bit of distance, a little bit of detachment, okay? But now you're a little bit detached, but you're attached to the inner light, which you know is good. It's from God. Remember the truth? Remember the truth you don't like. It hurts a little bit, but you're glad to hear it. Well, then the light will begin to show you some of your errors. Mainly resentment. That may be the first thing you see, that you're resenting your partner. See, or you're resenting yourself. A lot of people turn the resentment on themselves. And you see that you resented your dad or your mom. See, you'll see those things. And then seeing it in the light, and now not running from it, not resenting the light for showing it to you, but just observing it. Okay, what response can you have when you see that you've been full of hate and selfish and blaming and judging and damning everyone? See, even yourself. What response can you have when you see that in God's light? Well, you're sorry to see it. You regret the way you are. But you also see that you can't change yourself. You've tried that too, haven't you? All your self-help programs, trying to make yourself nice or good or innocent, or it doesn't work. So, when you see your error, then you're just sorry, that's all. You regret what you see. It could be a little painful too, or very painful actually. But, maybe you cry a few tears. But then you know what? Then you feel better. It's like having your tooth pulled. And you're glad to come clean. See, maybe you've wanted to come clean for a long time, but who can you come clean to? If you confess your sins to other people, what are they going to do? They can't do any good for you. All they'll do is give you phony reassurance, more false reassurance and condescending love. And see, you don't want any of that. It's phony. Maybe you resented other people for that too, for their phony love. See, don't resent them, okay? They can't help it. See, they haven't found the answer either, but you're close to finding it. Maybe you already have found it. If you can sit still for the truth, then and bear it, and see your own wrongs and not resent seeing them, then you're already there. It's already begun. That's the true beginning. See? Now, some people have a problem where in the past, somewhere along the line, they thought they were born again, or they thought they made a decision, or that sort of thing, somewhere along the line with some church or some group. And they felt better for a while, and emotionally they felt better. See? But then things went back to the same old. But then they didn't want to admit that it wasn't the real thing. So here's what you do. Just see that you've been wanting to come clean for a long time. You've been wanting to find God for a long time. You weren't quite ready yet. You still had to go out in the world and do more things, okay? And maybe suffer more, make more mistakes, have more excitement. You weren't ready yet, okay? But one day you will be ready, okay? See, coming back to God, it's really something. Mostly it's for the second half of life. A lot of times around age 40, even for Moses. See, at age 40 it began for him, But then God had him to be a sheep herder for 40 years in the desert until he was 80. And then at 80, then Moses was ready for God to use him. Okay? So don't resent yourself. Don't struggle with your own lower nature, which you can't struggle with it. See? Just see it. What you need is understanding. Not condemning or condoning, but understanding for yourself and for others. You just see your failings, see your lower nature, see that you naturally are concupiscent. You're naturally inclined toward sin, toward error. That's the way we humans are. So just see that. And if in the past you thought you had found the real thing, but then just see it as if it was a first step. Okay? It was like a first step. Okay? And then it wasn't the full thing yet, or the real thing, or it was just a little step. Okay? So just see it that way. Don't resent it. Now maybe you're ready for the next step, the big step. Okay? And if you're not quite ready yet, okay, well, then maybe someday you will be ready. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed this little lecture. Oh, so you can see then that, remember, it says in the Bible, there's no salvation without repentance, but you can't repent yourself. You can't make yourself sorry. You can't put on a show for God. It doesn't do any good. I mean, you can put on a show, but it doesn't do any good. What you have to do is just sit still. Maybe get the meditation that I have. It's free. I have a version that's called the Classic. It's more elaborate, and it has 4 parts, and you get a couple of ebooks with it, so it's very nice. But if you want to just try the free one, then try the free one. Help you to sit still and get centered. Calm down. Get a little closer to God's light. Okay, so that'd be a good start for you. And then, oh yes, but what I was going to say, remember I talked about, now you're the sum total of everything that went before? Okay, so there's a lot of baggage, a lot of unforgiveness, a lot of angers. But as you begin to see them in the light, then you begin to let them go. Maybe you have to be a little sorry, okay? Or regret what you see, but now you see it differently. See, in the past you only saw it as an ego struggling with your failing or your fault. Okay? And then you didn't want to see it, or if you did see it, you didn't know what to do, or you tried to make yourself better and it never works. But now, if you see it, you'll be seeing it in God's light. See, something else has been added. Something else has been added. God's light. And God's light, let God take the responsibility of saving you. Don't try to save yourself. Just say, Lord, here I am, and let Him take care of it. My name is Roland.